I stand before you today not with an easy truth, but with a heavy burden of a truth that for far too long has been concealed under the weight of societal pressures, assumptions, and a culture of silence, a truth that I didn't want to expose, but one that I now feel compelled to reveal because it concerns the very foundation of how we view the elderly in our society. The topic of this speech is both uncomfortable and necessary, for it deals with the reality that too many seniors are living in a lie within a carefully constructed matrix of expectations, stereotypes, and systemic neglect. This matrix, if you will, is a web of misinformation and manipulation that distorts the way we perceive aging in the elderly. It tells us that growing old is synonymous with inevitable decline, dependency, and loss of value. It convinces us that older adults are weak, mentally diminished, or incapable of contributing meaningfully to society. It tells seniors themselves that they are past their prime, that their worth has diminished, and that their experiences, knowledge, and potential have somehow expired. But the truth, as I will argue, is far different. Seniors are not simply living in this matrix, they are its victims. And it's time we wake up from the illusion. To begin, we must understand what this matrix represents. The matrix is a system of control, a set of ingrained beliefs and practices that shape how we view the elderly and how they, in turn, view themselves. It's a cultural construct that, often unintentionally, forces seniors into predefined roles, denying them the opportunity to thrive and live fully. The matrix teaches us to view old age as a time of inevitable loss, loss of health, loss of independence, and tragically, loss of dignity. It has become a widely accepted narrative that aging is something to be feared, avoided, and if possible, hidden. But is that really the case? Are seniors truly so weak, so frail, so incapable of contributing to society as the matrix suggests? The evidence says otherwise. There are countless examples of older adults who defy the stereotypes of aging. From business leaders to educators, artists to activists, seniors continue to inspire, innovate, and lead in ways that shatter the conventional narrative of old age. Consider some of the most famous names in recent history: Nelson Mandela, who was still active in politics well into his 90s. The late Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who continued to serve on the U.S. Supreme Court until her death at the age of 87, and Jane Goodall, who in her 80s is still working to conserve wildlife and promote environmental causes. These individuals, among countless others, challenge the lie that aging is synonymous with obsolescence. However, for many seniors, the reality is much bleaker. They are caught in a system that constantly undermines their agency and self-worth. This matrix of ageism is deeply ingrained in our society, embedded in everything from media portrayals to government policies. The media, for instance, frequently depicts older adults as helpless, irrelevant, or burdensome. How often do we see characters over the age of 65 represented as wise and strong, as active participants in society rather than passive recipients of care? How often do we see stories of seniors embarking on new careers, learning new skills, or finding new passions? But the matrix isn't just about how seniors are portrayed in media. It extends to the practical realities they face in everyday life. Take, for example, the workplace. How many seniors have you seen pushed out of their jobs because they were considered too old or too slow? Age discrimination is rampant, and it is not only hurtful, it's counterproductive. Studies have shown that older workers often bring invaluable experience, problem-solving skills, and emotional intelligence to their jobs, yet they are systematically excluded or sidelined in favor of younger, less experienced individuals. We are, in effect, throwing away human capital that could benefit not only the individuals involved, but society as a whole. The matrix is also alive in the way healthcare is approached. Too often, the healthcare system views older adults through the lens of illness rather than wellness. When seniors visit doctors, they are more likely to be treated for specific ailments rather than for holistic health. The focus is on managing diseases, not promoting long-term vitality. How many times do we hear a doctor tell an elderly person that their pain, fatigue, or difficulty moving is simply a part of getting old? This mindset doesn't just neglect the individual's potential for a better quality of life. It actively discourages seniors from seeking out ways to improve their health or challenge the limitations that have been imposed on them. Instead of encouraging active lifestyles, social engagement, and mental stimulation, the message is often that old age is a time of inevitable decay. This is a dangerous lie, a lie that not only limits seniors, but also robs society of their wealth of knowledge, wisdom, and potential contributions. Because the truth is, aging does not have to mean decline. It doesn't have to mean sitting idly by, waiting for the inevitable. Aging can and should be a time of continued growth, learning, and empowerment. Unfortunately, our society's conception of aging doesn't reflect this reality. It tells seniors that they have reached the end of their journey when in fact they are just beginning a new phase of life. This lie also has a profound psychological impact on seniors themselves. When people are constantly told that they are too old, too slow, or too irrelevant, they begin to internalize these beliefs. Seniors who may once have felt confident and capable are led to believe that their best days are behind them. They are told directly or indirectly that they are burdens to their families, society, and themselves. This internalized ageism can lead to depression, isolation, and a loss of purpose. Studies have shown that people who hold negative stereotypes about aging are more likely to experience cognitive decline and physical health problems. It's as if the belief in the lie becomes self-fulfilling, creating a vicious cycle of decline that could have been avoided. So how do we break free from this matrix? How do we stop perpetuating the lie that seniors are incapable of living fulfilling, meaningful lives? The first step is to challenge our own assumptions and stereotypes about aging. We must recognize that aging is not a disease, but a natural and inevitable process that can be rich with opportunities. We need to start seeing seniors as people, not just as a demographic or a set of problems to be managed. We need to create spaces where older adults can thrive, where they can be valued not just for their contributions to society, but for their inherent worth as human beings. We also need to reframe how we think about aging in the media and in popular culture. We need to tell stories that reflect the true diversity of older adults' experiences, stories that highlight their vitality, creativity, and ongoing contributions. We need to elevate the voices of seniors who are still making an impact in their communities and beyond. Whether it's through art, activism, or entrepreneurship, seniors have much to offer, and it's time we recognize that. Furthermore, we must advocate for policies that support seniors in every stage of life. This means providing access to health care that focuses not just on disease management, but on preventive care and holistic well-being. It means ensuring that older adults have access to job opportunities and are not pushed out of the workforce because of their age. It means creating age-friendly communities where seniors can remain active, engaged, and independent for as long as possible. Lastly, we need to create a culture that embraces aging as a natural and beautiful part of life. Instead of fearing it, we should celebrate it. We need to create environments where older adults can continue to learn, grow, and find purpose. Aging should not be something to dread, but something to embrace. A time to reflect, to mentor, to contribute, and to live fully. In conclusion, I did not want to expose this truth, but it is necessary. Seniors are living in a lie, one that tells them they are too old, too slow, too irrelevant to matter. It's a lie that harms them, and it's a lie that harms us all. The truth is that aging can be a time of vitality, growth, and contribution. It's time to dismantle the matrix and build a society where seniors are seen, valued, and empowered to live their best lives. Only then will we truly honor the elderly for who they are, not for their age, but for their humanity. Seniors today find themselves trapped in a matrix of ageism, a deeply ingrained societal structure that holds them back from fully realizing their potential. This matrix is not a physical cage, but a web of beliefs, stereotypes, and institutional systems that systematically undervalue older adults, limiting their opportunities, freedom, and dignity. The message society often sends is that aging equates to decline and obsolescence, a notion that persists in nearly every facet of life, from the media to healthcare to the workplace. For many seniors, this matrix has created an environment where their contributions are diminished or ignored. Their health is disregarded, and their worth is questioned simply because they are getting older. This ageist matrix starts with the prevailing cultural narrative that aging is something to fear, something to fight against. From a young age, we're taught that growing old is synonymous with becoming less capable, less vital, less valuable. The media plays a significant role in perpetuating this idea, often depicting older adults as frail, forgetful, and out of touch with modern society. Television shows and films frequently cast seniors as secondary characters who are only there to provide comic relief or worse, as burdens to their families or communities. These portrayals of older adults contribute to the broader societal perception that they are no longer capable of meaningful participation in society, reducing them to stereotypes instead of acknowledging their individuality, experience, and wisdom. This matrix also thrives in the workplace, where age discrimination is still widespread. For many seniors, the idea of continued employment becomes a distant dream after they reach a certain age. Older workers are often seen as less productive, too slow, or too set in their ways to adapt to new technologies or work practices. Even when they have decades of experience or specialized knowledge, they are often overlooked in favor of younger workers who are presumed to be more innovative or modern. But this is not just about discrimination, it's about the missed potential. Seniors bring unique skills to the table, skills that can't be replicated by a younger, less experienced workforce. They offer stability, emotional intelligence, and problem-solving abilities that come only with time and experience. Yet, because of the deep-seated belief in the inevitability of decline with age, many are pushed out of the workforce long before they are ready to leave. This results not only in wasted human capital, but also a loss of the rich perspectives that older workers bring to organizations. Another crucial element of this matrix is the healthcare system's focus on illness rather than wellness. As seniors grow older, they often find themselves defined by their ailments rather than their overall well-being. Healthcare for the elderly tends to be more about managing diseases than preventing them or enhancing quality of life. Visits to doctors may focus more on managing chronic conditions, such as hypertension or arthritis, than on promoting physical activity, mental stimulation, or a balanced diet. This mindset reinforces the idea that aging is primarily about decline rather than opportunity for continued growth and vitality. The medical community sometimes treats the elderly as though they are simply waiting to die, not recognizing the potential for a fulfilling life even in advanced age. This attitude only serves to entrench the belief that seniors are not capable of being active, healthy, or vibrant members of society. Perhaps the most insidious aspect of this matrix is its psychological impact on seniors themselves. When you're constantly told that you are past your prime, that you're no longer relevant, or that your time has passed, it becomes difficult to see yourself in any other light. Many seniors internalize these messages, and as a result, they may experience a significant decline in self-worth, motivation, and mental health. The constant barrage of negative stereotypes can lead to feelings of inadequacy or hopelessness. Rather than seeing aging as an opportunity for growth or exploration, many begin to see it as a time of inevitable loss. This belief can also have serious consequences for their mental and physical health. Research has shown that seniors who harbor negative attitudes about aging are more likely to experience cognitive decline and physical health problems than those who view aging as a natural and empowering part of life. The beliefs they internalize often become self-fulfilling prophecies, creating a cycle where the expectations of decline lead to actual decline. This matrix of ageism traps seniors in a system where their value is often ignored, their opportunities are limited, and their voices are silenced. It's a system that makes it easy to forget that old age is not a disease, but a natural phase of life that can still be rich with vitality, passion, and purpose. By perpetuating the idea that aging is something to be feared or avoided, society has created an environment where many older adults feel as though they have no place in the modern world. This belief system not only harms seniors by denying them opportunities, but it also harms society as a whole by limiting the potential contributions of older individuals. Breaking free from this matrix is not just about addressing individual acts of ageism, but about challenging the very narrative that underpins our societal understanding of aging. To do so, we must shift the way we view older adults, not as people whose best years are behind them, but as individuals with much to offer regardless of their age. The narrative of inevitable decline must be replaced with one that celebrates the richness of experience, the wisdom that comes with age, and the potential for continued growth and contribution. Only then can we begin to dismantle the matrix of ageism and create a society where seniors are seen as valued members with endless possibilities for a full and meaningful life. The media plays a central role in shaping how society perceives the elderly, and unfortunately, it often reinforces negative stereotypes of aging that contribute to the broader matrix of ageism. Through movies, television shows, advertisements, and news coverage, older adults are frequently portrayed in a limited and stereotypical manner, one that diminishes their value and often casts them as objects of pity or ridicule, rather than complex individuals with agency, vitality, and purpose. These portrayals have far-reaching consequences, both for how seniors are treated and for how they view themselves. One of the most prevalent stereotypes in the media is that aging is synonymous with physical decline and frailty. Seniors are often shown as weak, unable to perform basic tasks, or reliant on others for care. These portrayals typically emphasize the inevitability of deterioration, presenting aging as a process marked only by loss of strength, mobility, health, and vitality. Older characters on television and in film are often depicted as being in need of constant assistance, whether it's help walking, remembering things, or managing daily routines. This emphasis on physical limitations feeds into the societal perception that aging is a state of helplessness, making it harder for seniors to be viewed as capable or strong. This stereotype also perpetuates the idea that as people grow older, their bodies inevitably betray them, which undermines their autonomy and self-worth. The emotional portrayal of seniors is similarly limited and one-dimensional. In many media portrayals, older adults are shown as grumpy, depressed, or disengaged from the world around them. They may be depicted as lonely or frustrated, disconnected from modern society, and uninterested in the activities of younger generations. This narrow lens on aging ignores the reality that many seniors continue to lead rich, fulfilling lives with complex emotional experiences, friendships, and passions. Instead, the media often casts older adults as past their prime, perpetuating the belief that once people hit a certain age, their emotional and social lives become static or irrelevant. This misrepresentation also contributes to the isolation felt by many seniors as they see their experiences diminished or dismissed in the narratives they consume. Another harmful stereotype that the media reinforces is that older adults are technologically illiterate and disconnected from the fast-paced digital world. This portrayal often comes across in commercials or TV shows where seniors struggle to understand how to use smartphones, computers, or other modern technology. While there are certainly older adults who may be less familiar with newer technologies, the assumption that all seniors are technologically challenged is both unfair and inaccurate. Many older people are adept at using digital tools, managing social media, and engaging with technology in innovative ways. However, these representations reinforce the idea that aging means being out of touch with modern life, further marginalizing older adults and contributing to a sense of irrelevance. The media also frequently promotes the idea that beauty and desirability are exclusive to youth, effectively marginalizing seniors when it comes to the portrayal of attractiveness and love. Older women, in particular, are often overlooked in mainstream media. When older women are represented, they are frequently shown as being either invisible or irrelevant in terms of romantic or sexual attraction. On the rare occasions when they do appear as romantic figures, they are often portrayed as the wise elder or the matriarch, roles that are both limited and restrictive. This is a stark contrast to how younger women are typically portrayed, with a focus on their beauty, sexuality, and vitality. The absence of diverse representations of aging in the media sends the message that older individuals are no longer worthy of love, admiration, or desire, reinforcing feelings of invisibility among seniors. The negative portrayal of aging in the media also has harmful effects on how younger generations view older adults. When younger people are constantly exposed to images of seniors as frail, out of touch, or irrelevant, they internalize these stereotypes and carry them into their interactions with older individuals. This results in increased ageism, both in the form of overt discrimination and in more subtle, unconscious biases that affect how seniors are treated in the workplace, in healthcare, and in daily life. The media thus perpetuates a cycle of ageism by shaping perceptions that lead to real-world consequences for the elderly, ranging from exclusion and disrespect to neglect and diminished opportunities. But perhaps the most insidious effect of the media's reinforcement of these negative stereotypes is the impact it has on older adults themselves. The constant barrage of messages that suggest aging is a time of decline, loss, and irrelevance can cause seniors to internalize these beliefs, leading to diminished self-esteem and a sense of powerlessness. When people see themselves reflected in the media as helpless, frail, or unimportant, it becomes difficult to challenge those assumptions and embrace a different vision of aging. This internalized ageism can lead to depression, anxiety, and a sense of isolation, as seniors may begin to feel as though they no longer have a place in society. Moreover, it discourages them from seeking opportunities for growth, learning, or engagement with their communities, as they begin to believe that their contributions no longer matter. However, it's important to recognize that the media is not inherently negative in its portrayal of aging. In recent years, there has been a shift, with more diverse and nuanced representations of older adults emerging. Films, TV shows, and advertisements are starting to feature older characters who are active, independent, and vibrant people who challenge the stereotypes of aging as a time of inevitable decline. These depictions highlight the fact that many seniors are enjoying their lives to the fullest, pursuing new careers, traveling the world, or engaging in creative endeavors. Celebrities like Helen Mirren, Morgan Freeman, and Judi Dench, for example, are celebrated not just for their acting talent, but for their ability to continue thriving in their later years. In the world of advertising, companies are beginning to recognize the purchasing power of older adults and are featuring seniors in commercials, showing them as healthy, happy, and capable. While these positive portrayals are a step in the right direction, there is still much work to be done. The media must continue to diversify its representations of aging, offering a fuller, more realistic picture of the senior experience. This means depicting older adults not just as passive figures in the background or symbols of decline, but as active, engaged individuals who lead dynamic, meaningful lives. By doing so, the media can help to reshape society's understanding of aging and combat the negative stereotypes that have long held seniors back. In conclusion, the media plays a powerful role in reinforcing negative stereotypes of aging that have a real-world impact on seniors. These stereotypes of frailty, irrelevance, and incapacity undermine the value of older adults and contribute to a culture of ageism. The more we challenge these depictions and promote positive, diverse portrayals of aging, the more we can begin to dismantle the matrix of ageism and create a society that values seniors for who they are, not just for their age. Age discrimination in the workplace remains a pervasive issue, even as many societies have made significant strides toward promoting diversity and equality in other areas. It's a form of bias that unfairly targets individuals based solely on their age, usually in the context of older workers, and it undermines both the potential of the individual and the broader productivity of the workforce. Despite the vast experience and wisdom that older employees bring to the table, ageism in the workplace can lead to the marginalization, exclusion, and ultimately the loss of valuable talent. This discrimination doesn't just affect individuals, it has wide-ranging implications for the economy, organizational culture, and social well-being. One of the most common forms of age discrimination in the workplace is the assumption that older workers are less capable than their younger counterparts. This belief is grounded in the stereotype that as people age, they inevitably lose their energy, creativity, and ability to keep up with new technologies or work practices. Many employers, often unconsciously, hold these biases, leading them to overlook older candidates for promotions, hires, or key projects. This discrimination is particularly problematic in industries where rapid technological advancements are common, like tech or finance, where there's a tendency to assume that older workers are too set in their ways or technologically behind. But this assumption is not only unfair, it's inaccurate. Older workers often bring invaluable experience, problem-solving skills, and a wealth of knowledge gained over years, if not decades, of working in their respective fields. They possess deep institutional knowledge, are skilled at mentoring younger employees, and have often navigated complex work situations with grace and insight. Their expertise can contribute to smoother operations, better decision-making, and stronger leadership in ways that younger workers might not be able to replicate. Yet because of the stereotype that they are outdated or less adaptable, older employees are often bypassed or pushed out of the workforce prematurely. This results in a tragic waste of human capital and a missed opportunity for companies to harness the full potential of their diverse workforce. Age discrimination also manifests in hiring practices. Job advertisements, both subtle and overt, often include age-coded language that discourages older workers from applying phrases like looking for a young, energetic team or must be comfortable with fast-paced, innovative environments can unintentionally signal to older workers that they are unwelcome. In some cases, employers may even explicitly state a preference for younger candidates, despite the fact that such practices are often in violation of anti-discrimination laws. Even when older workers apply for jobs, they may face a biased interview process where hiring managers may dismiss their qualifications in favor of younger applicants, based on the unfounded belief that younger workers will bring more value to the company. Beyond the hiring stage, age discrimination can affect older workers in their current positions as well. As employees grow older, they may find themselves passed over for promotions or important projects, often without a valid reason. Employers may assume that older workers are less ambitious or less willing to adapt to new challenges, even though these assumptions are rarely grounded in fact. Older workers are sometimes viewed as nearing the end of their careers, leading employers to allocate resources, training, and opportunities to younger employees who are presumed to have more future potential. This dead-end treatment can create a hostile work environment for older workers, reducing their motivation and engagement while increasing feelings of frustration and alienation. Age discrimination in the workplace isn't just harmful to individuals, it's also damaging to organizations. By discriminating against older workers, companies are missing out on the benefits of an age-diverse workforce. Numerous studies have shown that age diversity can enhance workplace performance by bringing together different perspectives, ideas, and problem-solving approaches. Older workers are often more reliable, have stronger communication skills, and bring a wealth of wisdom to team dynamics. Age diversity can foster a collaborative environment where the strengths of each generation are leveraged to the advantage of the whole organization. In contrast, when an organization favors youth over experience, it can result in a narrow-minded approach to problem solving, lack of mentorship opportunities, and the loss of long-term institutional knowledge. Moreover, age discrimination can have a significant impact on the mental health and well-being of older employees. Being passed over for promotions or excluded from career development opportunities can cause feelings of devaluation, leading to stress, anxiety, and decreased job satisfaction. When older workers feel like their contributions are not appreciated or that their future in the company is uncertain, they may experience a decline in motivation, which can further contribute to a negative work atmosphere. Over time, this can lead to increased turnover rates, particularly if older workers begin to feel they have no future in their current workplace. This creates a cycle where experienced employees are driven out and organizations lose valuable institutional knowledge, only to have to hire and train new workers who may not have the same level of expertise or experience. The financial impact of age discrimination is also worth considering. When older workers are unfairly pushed out of their roles or prevented from advancing in their careers, they may experience economic hardship. Many individuals rely on their employment income to support themselves, particularly as they approach retirement age. Losing a job or being unable to find a new one can create serious financial challenges for older workers who may have fewer years left in the workforce to recover their financial standing. For employers, this turnover of experienced workers can also result in financial losses, as the cost of hiring and training new employees is far higher than retaining seasoned professionals. The legal and ethical implications of age discrimination are also significant. Many countries have laws in place to protect workers from age-based discrimination, such as the Age Discrimination in Employment Act, ADEA, in the United States, which prohibits employment discrimination against individuals aged 40 and older. However, despite these protections, age discrimination remains a persistent issue, with many older workers reporting that they have experienced discrimination or have witnessed it in their workplace. This suggests that there is a disconnect between the legal protections offered to older workers and the actual practices within many workplaces. Organizations must work harder to ensure that their hiring, promotion, and workplace practices are free from age-based bias. Addressing age discrimination requires a multifaceted approach. Companies must educate their leadership and employees about the value of an age-diverse workforce and create policies that actively prevent discrimination based on age. Training on unconscious bias and ageism should be incorporated into regular diversity and inclusion efforts, and hiring practices should be regularly audited to ensure fairness and inclusivity. It's also important for organizations to promote mentorship programs that pair older workers with younger employees, helping to bridge generational gaps and promote mutual respect. In conclusion, age discrimination in the workplace is a deeply ingrained issue that limits the potential of older workers and the organizations they serve. It perpetuates harmful stereotypes, undermines productivity, and stifles the contributions of experienced employees. By actively combating ageism and fostering a more inclusive, age-diverse workplace, companies can tap into the wealth of experience and insight that older workers bring, creating a stronger, more effective, and more dynamic workforce for everyone. The healthcare system, particularly in many developed countries, has long been oriented toward treating illness rather than promoting wellness. This focus on disease management, often in a reactive rather than preventive manner, has significant consequences, particularly for older adults. While it is essential to address health conditions and treat disease, this narrow view of healthcare overlooks the broader needs of aging populations and fails to encourage proactive measures that could improve overall health, extend lifespan, and enhance quality of life. For seniors, this means that the healthcare system often fails to support them in leading fulfilling, active, and independent lives, pushing them into a cycle of chronic disease management instead of empowering them to achieve better health outcomes in the first place. The tendency of healthcare to focus more on illness than wellness is rooted in several factors, including the structure of medical training, the business models of healthcare institutions, and the priorities set by insurance companies. Medical professionals are trained to diagnose and treat diseases, often addressing symptoms rather than preventing conditions from arising. While this is a necessary approach in acute care situations, it is less effective in promoting long-term well-being. For seniors, this means that the focus is frequently on managing chronic conditions like diabetes, heart disease, and arthritis, rather than taking a holistic approach that encourages lifestyle changes, preventive care, and mental health support. This illness-centric model has serious implications for older adults who often deal with multiple overlapping health issues. Instead of addressing the root causes of these conditions, such as poor nutrition, lack of physical activity, or mental health struggles, the healthcare system tends to prioritize treatments and medications that only manage the symptoms. For example, seniors with heart disease may be prescribed medications to lower blood pressure, but their overall heart health might not improve because the root causes, like poor diet or lack of exercise, are not addressed in a meaningful way. Similarly, individuals with arthritis may be given pain relief treatments without being encouraged to engage in physical therapy or activities that could improve their mobility and quality of life. This reactive approach to healthcare also has economic consequences. Treating chronic illnesses is expensive both for individuals and for the healthcare system as a whole. Chronic diseases like diabetes, hypertension, and obesity are among the most costly health issues, and they disproportionately affect older adults. These conditions often require long-term care, frequent hospital visits, medication, and specialist interventions, driving up healthcare costs and putting a strain on public health systems. Meanwhile, the lack of emphasis on wellness and prevention means that the root causes of these conditions are not being addressed, leading to higher rates of morbidity and increased healthcare spending. A focus on wellness, which includes regular checkups, preventive screenings, and lifestyle changes, could mitigate the severity of chronic conditions, reduce hospital visits, and ultimately save both individuals and society money. In addition to the physical health neglect, the healthcare system's emphasis on illness can also contribute to the psychological and emotional well-being of seniors. Many older adults experience depression, anxiety, and loneliness, which are often seen as inevitable parts of aging rather than treatable conditions. Mental health is frequently sidelined in traditional healthcare settings with limited resources allocated for counseling, therapy, or other forms of psychological support. The focus on treating physical ailments often means that mental health issues go unaddressed, even though they can significantly affect an individual's overall quality of life. In fact, untreated mental health conditions can exacerbate physical health problems, creating a vicious cycle of illness that could otherwise be mitigated with better care and attention to the whole person. An example of how this plays out in the healthcare system can be seen in the way older adults are often treated in hospitals or care facilities. When seniors are admitted for a procedure or a chronic condition, the emphasis is usually on the immediate medical needs. However, this often means that aspects of their overall well-being, such as their mobility, cognitive function, and social connections, are ignored or downplayed. For instance, seniors may be prescribed medications to manage their symptoms, but are not always encouraged to engage in physical activities or exercises that could improve their mobility or reduce the need for medication. This failure to consider the holistic health of the individual means that seniors may leave the hospital in a worse state than when they entered, especially if their mental health or physical abilities have declined in the process. Another critical aspect of the illness-centered healthcare model is its focus on reactive treatments instead of promoting community-based wellness programs. When seniors do receive health care, it's often in the form of visits to specialists or general practitioners, and care is fragmented. Rarely do seniors have access to coordinated multidisciplinary care that addresses not just their diseases, but also their mental, emotional, and social health. In contrast, wellness programs that focus on exercise, nutrition, social engagement, and mental stimulation could dramatically improve the overall well-being of older adults. Programs like senior fitness classes, nutritional counseling, and social support groups can prevent or delay the onset of many age-related diseases. Unfortunately, these programs are often not covered by insurance, and they receive little support within the medical establishment, which continues to focus on disease treatment rather than prevention. Preventive healthcare practices, such as regular screenings, vaccinations, and counseling on healthy lifestyle choices, are crucial in helping seniors stay healthy. Yet these practices are often not prioritized, leaving many older adults vulnerable to preventable diseases. For instance, older adults may not receive regular screening for colorectal cancer or cognitive decline, even though these conditions are more prevalent in aging populations. Preventive care could identify these issues early when treatments are most effective and may help seniors avoid costly treatments down the road. However, the healthcare system continues to favor interventions once a condition has already developed, rather than investing in measures that could prevent these conditions in the first place. Moreover, wellness approaches that focus on quality of life are often overlooked in favor of prolonging life at any cost. While extending life is, of course, a primary goal of healthcare, it should not be pursued at the expense of a person's dignity, autonomy, or mental well-being. Too often, the focus is on extending life through aggressive treatments or interventions without considering whether the individual truly wants or needs these measures. For example, older adults with advanced cancer may be subjected to painful treatments or hospitalizations without having their wishes fully considered. By focusing on wellness and respecting the desires of the senior, healthcare professionals can provide more meaningful care that respects the individual's right to a quality of life, not just an extended life. The shift in the healthcare system toward a more balanced approach, one that values wellness alongside the treatment of illness, is needed. This change would require a fundamental rethinking of how healthcare providers approach care for older adults. Physicians, caregivers, and policymakers should be trained to focus not just on diagnosing and treating diseases, but also on promoting preventive care and lifestyle changes that encourage overall well-being. Wellness programs should be integrated into healthcare plans, with an emphasis on fitness, nutrition, mental health, and social engagement, ensuring that seniors can live active, independent, and fulfilling lives. Ultimately, reorienting the healthcare system to focus more on wellness than illness could revolutionize the way seniors experience aging by addressing the root causes of chronic disease, promoting preventive care and providing holistic, patient-centered care. Healthcare can empower seniors to maintain their health and independence while also reducing the financial and emotional burdens of illness management. A wellness-focused approach to healthcare is not just a moral imperative, but also a practical one, benefiting individuals, families, and society as a whole. The psychological impact of ageism on seniors is profound, yet often overlooked in discussions about aging in society. Ageism, which involves discrimination or prejudice based on a person's age, primarily targets older adults. In a world that emphasizes youth, vigor, and productivity, older individuals are frequently subjected to negative stereotypes, social exclusion, and reduced opportunities, all of which take a significant toll on their mental and emotional well-being. The internalized consequences of ageism are often far-reaching, manifesting in issues such as anxiety, depression, diminished self-worth, social isolation, and a general decline in quality of life. For seniors, the psychological impact of ageism can be just as debilitating as physical health issues, creating a barrier to enjoying a fulfilling and dignified life. One of the most harmful psychological effects of ageism is the erosion of self-esteem. When seniors are constantly bombarded with negative stereotypes about aging, such as the notion that they are frail, forgetful, or irrelevant, they may begin to internalize these messages, leading to a diminished sense of self-worth. This phenomenon, known as internalized ageism, occurs when older adults adopt society's negative views about aging as part of their self-identity. As a result, they may feel less confident in their abilities, become less assertive, and even start to disengage from opportunities that could otherwise enrich their lives. The constant reinforcement of the idea that they are no longer capable or valuable may create a deep sense of inadequacy and sadness. In some cases, seniors might even avoid social situations or stop pursuing hobbies and passions out of fear of being judged for their age or abilities. This loss of self-esteem is often compounded by the widespread societal emphasis on youth, which equates beauty and productivity with being young. The constant portrayal of seniors as outdated or less capable in media, advertisements, and public discourse only reinforces these negative messages. For many seniors, this can feel like a double-edged sword. On one hand, they are expected to remain youthful, energetic, and productive well into old age, while on the other hand, they face societal pressure to retire from active participation in the workforce and social life. This tension can leave seniors feeling as though they are caught in a paradox. They are neither embraced for their experience nor allowed to thrive in a world that values youth. The psychological effects of ageism are particularly evident in the realm of employment. Age discrimination in the workplace is a common experience for many seniors, and it can lead to a sense of powerlessness and frustration. When older workers are passed over for promotions, overlooked for new job opportunities, or forced into early retirement, it can deeply affect their sense of identity. Work is often central to a person's self-esteem and sense of purpose, especially for those who have spent their lives building a career. When ageism forces individuals to leave their jobs prematurely, it can cause feelings of rejection and undermine their belief in their own value. The loss of income, coupled with the emotional impact of being excluded from the workforce, can lead to a sense of helplessness and depression. The social consequences of ageism also take a significant psychological toll on seniors. Social isolation is a common outcome of ageism, as older adults may begin to withdraw from social interactions due to feelings of being marginalized or ignored. When seniors experience ageist attitudes from younger generations or are excluded from social events, they may feel unwanted or irrelevant, leading them to isolate themselves further. This isolation can exacerbate feelings of loneliness, depression, and anxiety. In extreme cases, chronic social isolation can contribute to serious mental health problems, such as cognitive decline and increased vulnerability to illness. The stigma of aging, coupled with the physical changes that often accompany it, can also lead seniors to feel alienated from their peers. For example, physical changes like hearing loss, mobility issues, and vision impairment can make it more difficult for seniors to engage in social activities, which in turn can lead to a sense of being left behind or invisible. Ageist attitudes, such as the assumption that seniors are incapable of keeping up with technology, can further distance them from younger generations and make it harder to maintain meaningful relationships. When older adults feel they no longer have a place in society or are unable to connect with others, the psychological toll can be devastating. Another significant psychological impact of ageism is the increased vulnerability to mental health conditions. As older adults are confronted with discrimination and negative stereotypes, they are at higher risk for developing anxiety and depression. Internalized ageism, believing that they are no longer relevant or capable, can lead seniors to feel hopeless and helpless, which are key features of depression. Additionally, the anxiety that comes with aging in an ageist society can exacerbate these feelings. Many older adults worry about their future, facing fears of declining health, financial insecurity, and loss of independence. Ageism amplifies these fears, as the societal narrative often suggests that growing old is something to be feared rather than embraced. This heightened sense of anxiety can further erode their mental and emotional well-being. Interestingly, the impact of ageism on mental health is not confined to those who experience direct discrimination. The mere anticipation of ageism can create stress. When seniors expect to be treated unfairly or marginalized, they may begin to withdraw from activities they once enjoyed or avoid certain situations altogether. This can lead to a decline in physical and cognitive health, as well as a reduced sense of purpose and engagement in life. The belief that aging is synonymous with decline and that they will be disregarded by society can result in a self-fulfilling prophecy, where the older individual begins to isolate themselves or limit their own potential based on societal expectations. Moreover, the psychological impact of ageism can be amplified when older adults face discrimination in healthcare settings. Ageism in healthcare, where doctors and healthcare providers may focus on managing chronic conditions without considering the broader well-being of the individual, can lead to frustration, disillusionment, and a sense of neglect. If seniors are treated as though their health challenges are just a natural part of aging without efforts to improve their quality of life or address their mental health needs, they may internalize the belief that their lives no longer have value. In these settings, the lack of emotional support, combined with a focus solely on physical ailments, can leave seniors feeling as though they are seen only as patients rather than full, complex individuals. One of the most insidious effects of ageism is its role in perpetuating a cycle of negative beliefs about aging. When seniors experience discrimination, they are less likely to embrace the aging process positively. They may begin to view aging itself as something to be avoided or feared, rather than a natural and potentially enriching phase of life. This negative perception can inhibit seniors from engaging in life-affirming behaviors such as physical activity, learning new skills, or pursuing personal goals. Instead, they may resign themselves to the idea that their best years are behind them, leading to a decline in mental and physical health. To combat the psychological impact of ageism, it's essential for society to embrace a more inclusive, age-positive narrative. This includes promoting positive representations of aging in media, advocating for policies that protect older adults from discrimination, and fostering intergenerational connections. When seniors are treated with respect, included in decision-making processes, and given opportunities for meaningful participation in society, their mental health improves significantly. Encouraging older adults to remain active, engaged, and involved in their communities can help restore their sense of purpose and belonging. By breaking down the stereotypes and biases associated with aging, we can help seniors retain a strong sense of self-worth, improve their emotional well-being, and ensure that they live their later years with dignity and respect. In conclusion, the psychological impact of ageism on seniors is a complex and multidimensional issue that goes far beyond the physical aspects of aging. The emotional toll of ageism, manifesting in diminished self-esteem, increased anxiety and depression, social isolation, and internalized feelings of inadequacy, can dramatically reduce the quality of life for older adults. To address these challenges, society must challenge the prevailing ageist attitudes and create an environment where seniors are valued for their experience, wisdom, and continued potential. Only by dismantling the harmful psychological effects of ageism can we ensure that older adults are able to age with dignity, joy, and mental well-being. The notion of breaking the matrix calls for a radical shift in how society views and treats its seniors, one that goes beyond the superficial stereotypes of aging and moves toward embracing older individuals as active, valued, and empowered members of society. In many cultures, aging is seen through a distorted lens. often associated with decline, dependencies, and obsolescence. But this framework, what can be considered the societal matrix, is not only harmful to seniors, but also deprives society of their invaluable contributions. To truly break free from the confines of ageism and create a society that respects and values its elders, we must shift from a perspective of managing aging to one of empowering aging. First, to understand the importance of this shift, it's crucial to acknowledge how deep the roots of ageism run. Ageism is embedded in many aspects of our culture, from how seniors are portrayed in the media to how they are treated in workplaces and healthcare systems. Often older adults are depicted as frail, forgetful, or irrelevant. Depictions that not only misrepresent their capabilities, but also set a limiting narrative for what it means to age. These stereotypes shape not only how older adults see themselves, but how they are treated by others, resulting in a deeply ingrained sense of invisibility. The societal matrix of ageism is one in which seniors are either sidelined or relegated to a passive role, where their voices, ideas, and talents are dismissed, and their potential is undervalued. Breaking this matrix requires a fundamental change in both mindset and structure. Empowering seniors isn't just about providing them with resources. It's about redefining their role in society and recognizing the immense value they bring. This begins with respecting seniors as active agents of their own lives, not passive recipients of care. For too long, aging has been framed as a time of inevitable decline where the focus shifts toward managing illness rather than promoting well-being. This deficit-based model not only limits the potential of older adults, but also places undue stress on caregivers and the healthcare system. Instead, we must reimagine aging as an opportunity, one that encourages seniors to continue to learn, grow, and contribute, much like any other stage of life. To start breaking the matrix, we must first combat the damaging stereotypes that persist about aging. Seniors are often seen as old-fashioned, unable to adapt to new technologies, or even irrelevant to modern discourse. But these assumptions are deeply flawed. Today's older generation is healthier, more educated, and more tech-savvy than ever before. Many seniors remain engaged in their communities, start businesses, contribute to volunteer organizations, and care for their families. These are active, dynamic individuals who still have much to offer. By creating space for their contributions in both the professional and personal spheres, we can begin to break down the ageist assumptions that limit their potential. A key part of this empowerment comes from creating inclusive opportunities for seniors in the workforce. Age discrimination remains a pervasive issue, particularly in fields that emphasize youth and innovation. However, older workers bring a wealth of experience, critical thinking, and leadership skills to the table. They have often navigated complex challenges, mentored younger generations, and accumulated a depth of knowledge that can be invaluable in any organization. Companies that embrace age diversity benefit from this experience, often seeing improved decision-making, mentorship opportunities, and stability in leadership. This is not only beneficial to older workers, but also enhances the organization's overall performance. However, true empowerment of seniors requires more than just offering them jobs. It requires changing the way we think about work itself. In a society that prioritizes productivity above all else, we must rethink the idea that older adults are only valuable if they are contributing to the workforce at full capacity. This means creating work environments that recognize the diverse needs of older adults, including flexible working hours, opportunities for lifelong learning, and roles that allow seniors to continue contributing without the expectation of full-time, high-pressure labor. This approach would enable seniors to remain active and engaged in ways that honor their expertise and experience, while also allowing them to pursue passions and hobbies that may have been sidelined during earlier, more demanding years. In the realm of healthcare, empowering seniors means moving beyond a purely medical model focused on treating illness and moving toward a model that emphasizes wellness and prevention. A shift toward preventive care could help older adults maintain their health for longer, reducing the onset of chronic conditions and decreasing the need for reactive emergency care. By focusing on maintaining physical and mental well-being through exercise, nutrition, mental health support, and social engagement, healthcare providers can help seniors live healthier, longer, and more fulfilling lives. Furthermore, the promotion of holistic health should also include mental health services that recognize the psychological toll of ageism ageism and help seniors address issues like depression, loneliness, and anxiety. In doing so, we can ensure that seniors not only live longer, but also thrive in their later years. Perhaps one of the most important aspects of empowering seniors is to create opportunities for intergenerational connection and engagement. Ageism thrives in isolation when younger generations view older adults as out of touch or irrelevant, and when seniors become distanced from younger generations who may fail to understand or appreciate their experiences. One way to break this cycle is by fostering intergenerational relationships. These relationships help build mutual respect, understanding, and empathy. Seniors can share their wealth of life experience and wisdom with younger generations while also learning from the fresh perspectives and innovative ideas of younger people. Intergenerational programs, whether in the workplace, schools, or community centers, are an effective way to break down age barriers, combat stereotypes, and build stronger, more cohesive communities. Another powerful way to break the matrix and empower seniors is through technology. Technology often exacerbates ageism by assuming that older adults are inherently incapable of navigating modern digital landscapes. Yet, many seniors are not only proficient with technology, but are also eager to learn new tools that improve their lives. From telemedicine to online education, digital tools offer older adults the ability to stay connected with their families, access healthcare remotely, and continue learning in ways that were not possible before. By making technology more accessible and offering digital literacy programs tailored to seniors, we can help them bridge the generational divide and remain fully engaged in today's digital world. Moreover, supporting senior empowerment also means amplifying their voices and decision-making processes, both in the public and private spheres. Seniors should be part of the conversations that shape policies, particularly those that directly affect their lives. Whether it's healthcare policy, social security, or community planning, seniors offer a perspective that is often overlooked, but critical for creating solutions that benefit all generations. This can be achieved by ensuring that older adults are represented on boards, councils, and advisory committees, where they can advocate for the issues that matter most to them and offer insights based on their experiences. Breaking the matrix of ageism ultimately comes down to reimagining what it means to age. It is about empowering seniors to continue living full, meaningful lives and recognizing that aging does not equal obsolescence. Society must acknowledge that the experiences, wisdom, and contributions of seniors are invaluable assets that enrich our communities, workplaces, and families. By breaking the chains of ageism, we can create a more inclusive, compassionate, and thriving world where people of all ages are valued, celebrated, and empowered to lead fulfilling lives. In this vision, the matrix is no longer a system of limitation and exclusion, but a framework for growth, connection, and respect for all ages. To truly empower seniors, we must break free from the chains of outdated stereotypes and build a world where age is not a barrier, but a source of strength and opportunity. The road to empowerment is not an easy one, but with each step we take to dismantle ageism, we move closer to a society that values everyone, regardless of their age.